Man, just when you think you know everything, you got a pretty good grip on stuff, week 2 happens. And welcome everybody to the countdown. It's your boy King hanging out with you, not with Jimbo. He's still working on his computer, I believe. I believe that's going to be set. It's going to be ready. Also, you can't record right now. That's why this is going to be a little pre-recorded. Countdown's probably going to be pre-recorded for the rest of the season here on out, unless something else drastic happens. I have no idea. But for now, this is where the countdown is going to be. So, thank you for joining us here on Stay Tuned Sports. My name is King. If you like any part of this, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. It helps us out tremendously, especially if you're new here. And you might be from the Posse Raid that came last night during Monday Night Football. If you are, that's fantastic. Welcome here. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Let you know whenever we go live. Of course, if you want to know, want to help a little bit more tangibly, a little bit more with the cash money situation, and help us here at Stay Tuned Sports and keep the channel going and keep the channel afloat, you can help us by going to our donation station at our merch store down in the description below this video. Links are there. We also have a link for our Discord, which is getting a little bit more lively. You can come join us in there and talk and bullshit and have some fun. And also, link for my nephew. He is up for Youth Athlete of the Year right now. You can go ahead and give him a vote. That's going to help him out tremendously, and he deserves it. He deserves it. I believe they're in the quarterfinals now. It's quarterfinals, semifinals. I don't know. They've done a lot of rounds so far, but I think they're in the quarterfinals right now. So go give him a vote. You can vote more if you donate. Obviously, the causes are the Jimmy V Foundation, and I believe it's the Why Not You Foundation. All the proceeds go to that. It's a huge, big deal. It'd be a great deal for him. And like I said, he deserves it. So that link is also down there in the description. Now, we thought we knew what was happening. We thought we knew what was going on. You know, and that's the thing when it comes to the NFL. A lot of recency bias. You know, you think after the preseason, you think you know what's happening. Then week 1 happens, and it's like, boy, wow, this didn't happen. These things didn't happen. God, the Giants still look like shit. Boy, the Jets look like they could be something. They're battling with the Steelers. Maybe the Steelers or something. They look really good with Aaron Rodgers. You think you have? Oh, maybe the Lions are dead. Ooh, Lions. Though maybe losing Ben Johnson was big. Maybe losing Aaron Glenn was big. Oh my God, is this the end of the Lions? Is this what we're looking at here? I think we're, as the season goes on, you get a little bit more information, and we know it every year. We know every single year. Just because we know something in week 1 or preseason doesn't mean it's what's going to happen in week 2 or for the rest of the season. But we still do it to ourselves anyway. And of course, this year is no different. And week 2 provided us with some clarifying information. Lions, still the Lions. All right, I think that much was clear. In that, though, now we also have to look and say, how good are the Packers? I think the Packers are pretty good. I'm going to put that out there right now. I think the Packers pretty good. The Jets, looks like they're the Jets again. Bills, whatever the struggles they were having there with Baltimore, they still look good. Baltimore, they struggled with the Browns for the first half. Let's be honest. That game was a lot closer than I think it should have been. They pulled away in the second half. Is that more because of Browns' mistakes or because the Ravens are starting to put together? That's a question. I think that is a legitimate question to ask. The 49ers, even with all their injuries, they go to New Orleans, who everybody kind of figured was going to be bad this year, or maybe the worst team in the league. They've been scrappy. They've been a real scrappy team. Again, I don't think they're going to be very good, but they're putting up better games right now than the Dolphins are. And people thought this might be a year for the Dolphins to turn around. Some people were like, maybe not. But I don't think anybody saw the Dolphins being maybe this bad. And again, it was an entertaining game that they had with New England, but New England still comes out on top. Is Drake May finding his spot? The Giants, everybody was getting ready to start Jackson Dart. Oh, we can't start Russell Wilson the rest of the season. He has a career game. But meanwhile, the Giants defense, which was supposedly supposed to be a strength for the old Big Blue Wrecking Crew, 40 points given up on him. Also, James Hudson needs to be immediately fired. I haven't seen that come across the wire yet. The fact that the Giants haven't, that just, to me, tells me there's no accountability in the Giants room, and that's why Brian Dable needs to be out of here. So there's a lot to cover. There's a lot to talk about. Just a quick little recap here of week 2 before we jump on over to the vertical board, because what are we going to do over there? We're going to talk about, of course, the things we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the Booty Cheeks 5, and we're here to talk about the top 12 power rankings for me and Jimbo. So let's go on over there right now. There we are at the beautiful, the wonderful vertical board. Oh, why isn't my thing on there? There we go. Now we've got the top there. So that you know you're watching the countdown for the week 2 power rankings right here on Stay Tuned Sports. Now, as we always do, let's first check in on the Booty Cheeks. Because who doesn't love a little Booty Cheek action? You know what I'm saying? Let's see who we got in the Booty Cheeks this week. Again, me and Jimbo compile our lists here. Very deep analytical studies, of which there is no. We've covered this before. We're not really analytics guys. That's not what we do. But this is kind of what we see by the eyeball test. I think Jimbo does it more by dartboard, maybe. But let's see. For our 28th spot, what do we have here? I still have the Tennessee Titans. No change from where they were last week. 0-2. They're better than I think a lot of people thought they were going to be, but they're still not great. They still have a lot to work out. Cam Ward can only do so much. And he doesn't look bad. He doesn't look bust-worthy, as I think some people might have thought he would. I was saying I didn't think it was a very good quarterback class coming out this year in the draft. I kind of still feel like that, even though I'm a Giants fan and I like Jackson Dart and everything like that. I still think Jackson Dart needs to sit for the year. I've been saying that for quite a while. Cam Ward looks good. He's comporting himself well in his first 2 games here. It's just overall the Titans may not be a great team. Callahan, I don't know how good of a coach he's going to be. I don't know how long he's going to last there in Tennessee. Jimbo, he has the Saints still in the Booty Cheeks 5 at 0-2, and I get that because I still have them in here as well. I think I have them a spot lower, which I do, whereas you see me and Jimbo just have the 2 spots flipped, where I have the Titans at 28 and the Saints at 29. Jimbo has the Saints at 29 and the Titans at 28. Same things. Again, the Saints, I think they're better than what we thought. Again, when we went into the preseason, I had them dead last, and I thought that's where they were going to be all year. The Saints, if they continue to play this kind of scrappy, gritty football, even though they may not get a lot of wins, I don't know how much longer I'd be able to keep them in the Booty Cheeks 5 if they keep on playing the way they are. Like they seem like they're going to be a tough out in these games. Again, they only lost by 5 to the 49ers. Granted, the 49ers had a shit ton of injuries. I get that. But for a bad team, the Saints might be a fun bad team, I suppose. For the number 30 spot, Jimbo has the New York Football Giants, where I have, again, no change there. The Carolina Panthers. Hell of a comeback by Carolina. I'll give them that. That was a hell of a comeback by Carolina. But for most of that game, that comeback happened because for some reason the Cardinals decided to start playing prevent defense in the middle of the third quarter. Not sure what that thought process was coming from the Cardinals and their defensive coordinators and their defense, but all those Panthers points and the comeback happened kind of from the midpoint of the third quarter on, where the Cardinals just stopped playing the defense that they had been playing for the first half of that game. So I still think the Panthers have a lot of issues. It doesn't seem like they're on the right track. We were hoping that maybe Bryce Young kind of turned a corner last year after the benching. It seems like maybe that's not the case, and we'll see how long Dave Canales lays there. Again, Tippett is a little bit of or Tepper, sorry, I don't know why I said Tippett. Tepper is a little bit of a spicy owner, I just say. So we'll see how long his patience lasts. He's not exactly known for being a patient man. At 31, Jimbo has the Browns, where I have the New York Football Giants. He has the Giants at 30. I have the Giants at 31. I put the Giants up a spot. I had them dead last week. Again, offensively, looked good. Woke up. You see Russell Wilson still, can play good football. The Giants' offense had its moments outside of Hudson having 4 straight penalties. Too many penalties on the Giants. Very undisciplined, and whether we think some of the penalties were good or not, and I have questions about some of the holding calls, like the one on the kickoff, and there were several other calls that, the roughing the passer calls, I was very dubious about. but a majority of those penalties were legitimate Giant penalties. And that's an undisciplined team that comes to the coach, that comes down to the coach, that comes down to the organization, that comes down to accountability, which they don't have there in the New York Giants locker room, which is why I'm a big proponent of firing Brian Daboll. He should have been fired in January. That whole regime should have been fired. Him, the coaching staff, Shane, everything. But Shane had a good draft this year. That's fine. Blind squirrel finds nut, and that's fine. But what's the point of having a good draft? It's going to be with a coaching staff that can't do anything. And as we've seen with almost everybody that's left the Giants, they do so much better once they're out of the Giants organization. So I put the Giants up on because they at least it was an entertaining game. It's probably the most entertaining game of week 2, the Giants-Cowboys game. But Giants still suck, and now they're going to go into this coming week. And I hate to tell everybody, everybody's like, oh, maybe they can beat the Chiefs. Maybe they'll be up on the Chiefs. Maybe, the Chiefs are struggling. Maybe the Giants get in on the Chiefs. Giants are going to lose by 24. They're at home. It's a primetime game, and it's a the Giants don't have a shot in that game. And dead last, the booty cheekiest of the booty cheeks, me and Jimbo both have the Miami Dolphins, and I think it's pretty clear. I don't think it's close. That team is just in that team is in hell. Mike McDaniel does not have anything to do with that. That locker room is done with him. He seems to be done with the locker room. He seems to be done with coaching. The players seem to be done. Nobody wants to play down there. Nobody wants to do anything. Mike McDaniel doesn't want to coach. Players don't want to play, and it is coming across rather obviously with the Miami Dolphins here. So for now, I'm going to have to say the Miami Dolphins, a team that neither Jimbo or myself had in the Booty Cheeks 5 going to this season. I think they are the booty cheekiest of the booty cheeks. And right now it's not particularly close for just how bad the Dolphins have been. So there you go. Booty Cheeks 5. Jimbo has the Saints, the Titans, the Giants, the Browns, and the Dolphins. I, myself, pretty much the same as last week, just a little change at the bottom. I have the Titans, the Saints, the Panthers. I have the New York Gigantes. They're at 31, and the Dolphins, same as Jimbo, at 32. So that's the Booty Cheeks for week 2. After week 2, let's take a look now at the brighter side, the better half, if you will, of football power ranking lists. Let's take a look at the top 12 that we have here for you right here on Stay Tuned Sports. Again, my name is King. Thank you for joining us here on the Countdown. And let's take a look at number 12. Me and Jimbo both have the Atlanta Falcons. We both think the Falcons are maybe making a step. They looked very good. Hey, listen, you feed Bijan Robinson the ball, you do good things. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So, again, they look really good in that Sunday night game. The Vikings, you can say they looked really good, or the Vikings looked really bad, or however you really kind of want to put it. But I like the way that the Falcons looked in that game. It looked like they were in control for the whole game. It was never really in doubt for them when we saw that. So that's why I have them there, and I believe that's why Jimbo has them there as well. At number 11, Jimbo has the 0-2 Chiefs. I have the Bengals. They're 2-0. Granted, Burrow's gone for 3 months. They've had a couple of injuries. They have not looked the best, and especially playing against teams that might not be the best. But all things considered, I'm looking at all the other teams that are available to put up there as well. That's why I kind of have the Bengals up there. I'm surprised, Jimbo, for the guy who doesn't want to put the Chiefs anywhere, give them any credit, still has them in the top 12 at 0-2. Here's a little spoiler alert, everybody. The Chiefs are out of my top 12. They are not in there at all. They have not looked good. Now, granted, you start off against the Chargers, who I think are, as we saw on Monday night, I think they're legitimate. I think they look real good. And then they started off against the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. I don't know about how good or bad the Eagles are, and whether we're seeing them struggle against the Cowboys and struggle against the Chiefs a little bit here is any indication of whether the Eagles are good or bad, or if they're just facing tougher competition. Maybe the Chiefs are better than we're giving them credit for. I don't think so. Again, and the Chiefs are going to have to show something this week against the Giants. And listen, if they blow the Giants out, I don't think people are still going to give them any credit. I might not give them credit either because, I think the Giants are that bad. But if they struggle against the Giants, even if they win, if they struggle, like that's going to be a problem. I do notice the line there. I think it might be from one of the graphics. I think I might have had a graphic off there. It's all right. It's a little distracting. We'll get through it. At number 10, Jimbo. He still has the Redskins in here at 101. Now, I actually dropped the Redskins out of my top 12, even though they won in week 1 against the Giants, because I said it didn't look like it was that impressive of a victory. And I still don't think it was. Even with the Giants' performance this week, I don't think that makes it look any good. And then they go to Green Bay. And again, you want to talk about a game that was never in doubt. Green Bay owned that game from front to back, even wearing their terrible winter warning uniforms, which I don't think don't ever wear those again, Green Bay. Thank you. But Jimbo has the Redskins at 10. I put the Lions back in at number 10. They had them out last week after that loss to Green Bay. I wasn't a proponent of saying, like, oh, the Lions are bad. The Lions are super bad. They're done. But, again, it was a game where the Packers completely owned that game from front to back. So I wanted to see how they were going to come out against the Bears. I was like, if they struggle against the Bears, I think they should have won. I picked them to win. I was like, if they struggled against the Bears, then maybe you have a sign of maybe there's a problem in Detroit. Not only did they not struggle against the Bears, they put the foot on the gas and did not let it up the entire game. And they let Ben Johnson know, it's okay. Thank you for all your services. But here's a 50 burger up on your first visit back to Detroit. Thanks for coming. Thanks for all the fish. And so that's why I have the Lions there at number 10. At number 9, Jimbo, that's where he has the Lions up there. I have the 49ers. Again, kind of like the Bengals. A lot of injuries. Maybe haven't looked most super impressive, but grinding out wins, getting wins when you, like, if you can get wins when you're injured, when you're not playing your best, when you're not at your best, that's good. That's a sign of a good culture. That's a sign of a good locker room. That's a sign of good of a good team where you're able to persevere through all these things. Now, again, they did beat the Saints. I get it. And they beat the Seahawks last week. So, we can take that as like, well, who did they beat or anything like that. But considering the injuries, like I said, and now considering this week they played, and they're going to be playing without Brock Purdy for 2 to 5 weeks. You had Mac Jones come in there and do a pretty decent job. They put 26 points up on the board. That's not bad. And they sit at 2-0, and they're on top of their division along with the Cardinals and with the Rams as it sits right now. So that's why I have the 49ers there at 9. Jimbo, of course, as we see, has the Lions at number 8. Both me and Jimbo have the Rams at 2-0. Again, it seems like it was a little slow going to start there against the Tennessee Titans, in which I said I think Cam Ward has done well. I think he's a very good quarterback. I think the Titans are not the worst team in the league. Maybe not great, but they're certainly not the worst. But the Rams, I think, in the second half, put it together, put it away. They end up winning 33-19. I think that's the right spot. Again, I have them no change from last week. Jimbo moves them up a spot, and that's where we have our both of our Rams listed at number 8. At number 7. Jimbo has the Chargers moving them down. I'm not sure about that. Whereas I go ahead, I have the Buccaneers. I have them up a couple spots there at 2-0. Again, that Buccaneers game and how they came back, and you look at Baker Mayfield, how he was able to go ahead and lead that. I mean, you figured after the Texans score that late touchdown, game's over. All right, good job. Hey, listen, great game, back and forth. Looks like Houston's back, maybe on the right track. Baker and the Bucs, couple of mistakes. You look at that. Oh, how that's. It's never done with Baker in there, man. Baker led that team down the field in a case where they needed a touchdown. Field goal would have done them no good, clearly. Led them down, got them a touchdown right when they did. I think there was 6 seconds left, 4 seconds left when they scored that touchdown. Just leadership, determination, grit, whatever you want, whatever adjectives you want to use there for Baker Mayfield and this Buccaneers team. That it was absolutely it. What a great game. The Texans now sit at 0-2 in their division. The Buccaneers 2-0. They already have a win against Atlanta. our number 12 team, as you can see there. The Chargers, as Jimbo has them, he has them there, and he moved them down. I don't know why you would move them down like that. Because I personally think they looked better. The Chargers last night, all they did was prove to me, like, yeah, though they are that good. They're that good. We saw them in Brazil against Kansas City. Now we see them against the Raiders. They're already 2-0 division. They play Denver next week. And they have a chance to be up 3-0 in the division, 3-0 on just record, 3-0 record-wise, which put them 3-0 in the division. Like, they would have such a massive advantage to start out this season in the AFC West if they start 3-0. And like I said, they've already had 2 road games. Technically. I guess the one in Brazil technically counted as a home game, so they still have to play on the road against Kansas City. But Chargers might be real. Goal, Chargers, goal. At number 6, Jimbo has the Colts. I have the Baltimore Ravens. And again, yeah, they ended up winning big in that game against the Browns. Let me look at what was that? What was the final score of that game? 41-17. So not exactly close, but in halftime and into the third quarter, it was. The Browns were threatening them. I think at one point there was like they were only down by 10 and they had the ball. They were driving and then kind of things went to shit for the Browns. But they were in that game until like halfway through the third quarter. And then the Ravens just pulled away. But Derrick Henry, I think he had a minimal amount of yards. Where's the Derrick Henry stats? Let me look this up for the Ravens. Derrick Henry had 23 yards, 11 carries, 23 yards. The Browns did a great job of containing him. The Browns did, again, when you have Lamar Jackson going 225 and 4 touchdowns, that's fine. But they stopped Derrick Henry. So you have to wonder how good the Ravens might actually be. That's why I moved them down a spot. Jimbo did not have the Colts ranked, has them there now in his number 6 spot. Number 5, Jimbo has the Buccaneers. He's got them a couple spots higher than I do. I have the Colts in that spot at number 5, just one spot up where Jimbo has them from. Again, we could talk about the leverage call. We could talk about all that stuff and see like, oh, well, maybe the Colts should have won or it was close or whatever. This was the game where everybody said, we'll see how good Daniel Jones is in this game. Yeah, no, he played well in the first game where they beat up on who did they play in week 1? Let me look that up here. Who the hell did they play in week 1? The Dolphins. That's why. Everyone's like, oh, they played the Dolphins in week 1. And I understand that. Dolphins obviously being the bootiest cheek of the booty cheeks. But we'll see how they do against this Denver defense. Let's see how good Daniel Jones turned out to be. Pretty good. As we're going to we'll look up his stats here right now. Daniel Jones was 23 of 34, 316 and a touchdown. Leave the Giants, you become good. That's just what it is. You leave the Giants and you're gonna have a great career. Xavier McKinney, Saquon Barkley, and now Daniel Jones. And again, was the leverage call right call, wrong call? I think it was the correct call. Unfortunately, as you look at it by the letter of the law, you can sit there and say, well, it's a 60-yard field goal. Why are you even doing that anyway? Or they should have thrown the flag, put it in the pocket, blah blah blah. I get it, but technically by the letter of the law, it was right. And the Colts sit at 2-0. Daniel Jones looks like a bit. And here's the thing: if the Colts lose, it's still not an indictment on Daniel Jones and how he's played for them. So I really do like where the Colts are going. They have a lot of momentum. They have not punted the ball yet this year, and they haven't turned the ball over yet this year. Those are obviously going to change. You're not going to go puntless and turnoverless in a season. It's just not going to happen. But the fact that we've gone through 8 quarters now, and they haven't punted, and they haven't had a turnover. The Colts and now the Colts are 2-0, and the Texans are 0-2. who everybody said like the Texans were the team that was going to run the South. I'd like where the Colts are going. That's why I have them there at number 5. And now for the top 4. This is where I have the Chargers. And I'm surprised by Jimbo here, having the Eagles all the way down at 4. He had them at number 1 last week. He put them down 3 spots after that game with the Kansas City Chiefs. Eagles 2-0. He has in the 4 spot. I have the Chargers. Again, I think the Chargers are for real. I really do. They look good. Herbert looks good. That offense is humming. The defense, I mean, again, you could say, is it part of the Raiders not looking good, or is it a part of the Chargers defense? Again, the Chargers did a great job against the Kansas City Chiefs in Brazil in Week 1. They did just as good a job here at Vegas. I think for now they're the top of the AFC West. They're 2-0. They have a chance to now beat Denver to go 3-0. And Denver, for whatever struggles they're going through, and them being 0-2 or being 1-1, Denver's defense is still formidable. Denver's defense is still good. So we'll see how the Chargers do against that Denver team. Let's see if Bo Nix can put something together, or if the Chargers can go through. Like, Chargers might be legit. And that's why I have them there at number 4. At number 3, this is where I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Jimbo, he's got the Ravens there in the 3 spot. The reason I put the Eagles down 1 spot was a couple of factors. One, I think some of the teams that I have above them deserve to be there in the top 2 spots there. Also, in the 2 games they played against the Cowboys and the Chiefs. Now, the Cowboys, they let the Giants put 37 points on them. Didn't look exactly fantastic. And if you're in an overtime struggle where you need every last second of overtime and a bad Russell Wilson interception in overtime to beat the New York fucking Giants, I don't think you're that great. But the Eagles struggled against the Cowboys to the point where the Cowboys looked like they should have won. If CeeDee Lamb could catch a ball, Cowboys beat the Eagles. So the Cowboys are this close to being 2-0, which is scary. It's a scary thought because then you'd never shut the Cowboys up. And then the Eagles go into a Chiefs and play a Chiefs team. Granted, it was an Arrowhead, but we kind of saw from the end of last year and now in that first game against the Chargers, it looked like the Chiefs were a bit struggling, a bit out of order. Defense was discombobulated. Offense did not look good to the point where you have Travis Kelce running into his own receivers. Xavier Worthy's out with the labrum tear because of that hit. Like, nothing seemed to be going right. And they seem to be all kinds of either confused or discombobulated. And you still have a game that's as close as it was against that kind of team. You only win by 3 points, 20-17. I'm not impressed so far by the Eagles. Again, they have all the talent in the world, and they are the defending Super Bowl champions, but they haven't looked to me as good as these next 2 teams coming up here for me. At number 2, both Jimbo and I have the Green Bay Packers. This might be the team you really got to worry about going forward. You've seen what they've done now in 2 straight games against playoff teams from last year. We've seen, like, everybody was ready to give up on the Lions. Everybody's ready to say, oh, the Lions are done, after seeing how Green Bay just dominated them from front to back in Week 1. Then Week 2, we see the Lions are still the Lions. So now you have to start thinking to yourself, well, if the Lions really aren't that bad, like if the Lions aren't going to be struggling against, teams like the Bears, or they're not, they're beating teams like the Bears 52-21, which they should beat teams like the Bears like that. And the Lions still look like they got their mojo and they have all that stuff. How good are the Packers? And I think that's a question we all have to really start asking ourselves here is, how good are the Green Bay Packers? They're very good. I think they're a very good team. Jimbo seems to agree. He's even got them 2 spots ahead of his Eagles. And that's how good he thinks they are. And that's rare, because that means he's putting the team that wanted to ban the tush push 2 spots above his own favorite Philadelphia Eagles. That's what we're looking at when it comes to the Packers. They might be the most dangerous team in the NFL right now. They are putting it on. Their defense looks amazing. Jordan Love and that offense is humming right now. If they have everything together and they can stay relatively injury-free, Packers are a dangerous team. But for now, the number one team that both Jimbo and myself have at number one, the Buffalo Bills. This was a game going into it. If you listen to me on a Friday forecast, I was saying, hey, listen, Buffalo, you look how they kind of struggled against the Ravens. Granted, the Ravens are a great team. They had a hell of a comeback. I mean, Josh Allen's Josh Allen. It's amazing. I picked Buffalo in their game with the Jets, but I said, hey, listen, the way the Jets played, if the Jets play the game that they played against the Steelers, boy, if the Jets beat the Bills, that wouldn't surprise me. It looks like we were never in danger of that. That was never going to happen. Josh Allen gets bloodied in the nose, still goes out there, still slings it. Buffalo is just they're on a mission. And I think they can smell blood in the water, no pun intended with Josh Allen's bloody nose. But I think they can smell blood in the water. I think they see that the Chiefs are not the Chiefs right now. And maybe that changes as the season goes on. I don't know. But you got the Chiefs that are not playing well, that seem to be a shell of their former self. You see some of these other teams in the AFC that they have to contend with. The Ravens, they just beat. But, and so now they have a leg up on them anyway. So as long as they keep playing their game, they have a tiebreaker over the Ravens. And you see anything else right now, I think for the AFC, it's the Bills and maybe everybody else. And there's not too many other great anybody else's. Again, I think you got the Ravens. And now maybe we can start talking about the Chargers being in there as far as that goes. I'm not gonna throw the Colts in there as of yet for being like a legitimate contender. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. We'll see how Daniel Jones continues to progress there for the Colts. But like it's the Bills, it's the Ravens, and I'm willing to throw the Chargers up there right now from what we've seen. But right now, I think the Bills smell the blood in the water, and they're like, this is not going to happen anymore. We are going to run this entire conference. We are getting to the Super Bowl, and we're going to make it happen. It feels like that seems to be an absolute mission coming out of Buffalo. That's why I have them at number one, and I think that's why Jimbo does as well. We'll find out tomorrow during the main show how Jimbo feels, and he'll explain some of his list here, and we'll cover all that on the flagship show tomorrow right here on Stay Tuned Sports. But there we go. The top 12 power-ranked teams done by me and Jimbo. Jimbo has the Bills, Packers, Ravens, Eagles, Buccaneers. He's got the Colts at 6. He's got the Chargers, Rams, Lions, Redskins, Chiefs, and at the bottom of the list, he has the Falcons at number 12. I myself also have the Bills at 1, also have the Packers at 2. Then I go Eagles, Chargers, Colts, Ravens. At number 7, I have the Buccaneers. Then it's Rams, Niners, Lions. I have the Bengals at 11 and also have the Falcons at 12. So that will be the countdown for week 2. Again, tomorrow, the flagship show coming at you 4:45 p.m. Eastern Time live. We'll be here. Jimbo says his computer is indeed fixed, so we will be live tomorrow and be there with him. And then Thursday, we have Thursday Night Football. I believe it's the Bills and Dolphins this week. Strap in, folks. Strap in. That's going to be something to watch. But we have that. We have then we'll have the Friday forecast, and then we'll be right back at it Sunday, doing some of the games there. And Sunday night, Giants and Chiefs live at the Giant HVAC unit, the AC unit, MetLife Stadium. We'll see how poorly the Giants play and how they will again break my heart and disappoint me, which is always a fun thing to watch for everybody out there. So I thank you for watching us here on Stay Tuned Sports. If you liked any part of this, please give us a like, share, and subscribe. If you're brand new here, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Let you know whenever we go live, which we do a lot during the football season here. And again, thank you so much. If you want to help us out a little bit more tangibly, we have a link for our donation station, our merch store, our Discord, and to go vote for my nephew for Youth Athlete of the Year. All of that is in the description below this video. So, until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, mañana, when we do the flagship show right here on Stay Tuned Sports, my name is King. This has been the countdown, and you all have a fantastic and lovely rest of your Tuesday. Adios, everybody.